Have you ever seen these giant clams? At first glance, they look very much like coral reefs on the seabed, but in fact, they are giant clams that can reach a weight of up to 500 kg. So, are these giant clams considered seafood or not? How do we harvest them? We invite you to explore with us in today's video. Giant clams, true to their name, we can easily recognize them by their very large size, which can be up to 1.3 meters long, with an average weight of more than 250 kg. They are slow-growing, long-living creatures and the world's largest living bivalve. They are found in tropical waters of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Currently, the number of giant clams in the wild is seriously decreasing due to illegal hunting, so the giant clam is listed as a rare animal species at risk of extinction. To preserve this species, people have researched and successfully propagated how to raise giant clams, which not only helps preserve the seed source, but also brings in great profits. In order for a giant clam farm to develop effectively, it requires a standard number of seed. So, where do people harvest the seed? Giant clams are hermaphrodites. They can release eggs and sperm all at the same time. People choose giant clams in their 20s as breeders. After harvesting giant clam eggs and sperm, they fertilize and become swimming larvae. The larvae goes through several rapid stages as it transitions from floating plankton to small clams that settle on the sea floor. About 40 hours after hatching, the first signs of mussel shells appear. After about a year, the giant clams are about 10 centimeters long. Now, they cling tightly to the bricks. Baby giant clams that are about 1 year old will be taken to farms and raised. When giant clams reach a size of about 15 centimeters, over the next 5 to 8 months, they will be transferred to an offshore nursery. There, they are attached to wire mesh so they don't get separated when sea levels rise, and are enclosed in cages to protect them from predators, like triggerfish. Finally, the giant clams are placed on the sand so that they can grow to their enormous size when they reach adulthood. Today, Cosray is known as one of the few giant clam farms in the world. Dozens of large tanks to house them of varying sizes, continuously pumped in with seawater from the ocean. They make their own food from sunlight like plants. All they need is a weekly supply of water and time to develop. The giant clam species not only has a giant body, but its meat is highly valuable. People use clam meat to prepare many delicious dishes that are indigenous to several people around the world. The selling price of giant clams depends on the size and weight of the shell, but ranges from $400 to $2,400. Giant clam meat is very crispy and chewy. Therefore, this type can be processed into many delicious dishes such as grilled, steamed, cooked with porridge, stir-fried with garlic butter, etc. According to the experience of fishermen, large giant clams, weighing about 1 kg, are the ones that have the most delicious meat. Giant clamshells are sold as souvenirs and to decorate homes and aquariums, mainly in the US and Europe, and their shells are a rare raw material for the burgeoning shell carving industry, developed in China and Japan. The thickness of a shell, the uniqueness of the mother of pearl color, seem to evolve creative inspiration for the artisans. Therefore, each artist not only cuts and sharpens, but also breathes life into each meticulously sculpted line. Everything has converged and blended to create a magical transformation. Rough mussel shells, buried deep at the bottom of the ocean, suddenly become a masterpiece of art. Hello everyone and welcome to the vast Atlantic Ocean to explore the largest natural scallop fishery in the world. All fishing means use of the most advanced and modern technology that will certainly surprise you, because people can catch dozens of tons of scallops every day. Come on, join us on the boat and start going out to sea to do some fishing. The sea scallop fishery operates mainly along the Atlantic coast to the US and the Caribbean borders. Most vessels catch scallops as shelled meat, but some vessels also catch whole scallops. Modern fishing methods mainly use dredgers throughout the entire fishing range. At a narrower range, trawl nets will be used to catch scallops. Looking at these modern equipment, do you know how people catch 100 tons of scallops? Because the habitat of adult scallops lives close together in groups called beds on sand or gravel sections of the ocean floor. Therefore, the most optimal method to use is dredgers. The dredge consists of a metal mesh fixed on a chain pulled along the seabed with a net running behind. Place it behind or next to the boat and slowly pull it along the bottom of the boat. When the net touches the scallop will intensively clamp down on its shell to push it off the bottom. At this time, the scallops will fall into the net and be harvested on the side of the boat. This is a difficult but effective job because several tons of scallops can be harvested in just one day. Fishermen catch scallops all year round, in all weathers. Each trip can last from 10 to 14 days. When the device is pulled back, the scallops will be dumped on the deck. During the 10-day trip, to avoid spoiling the scallops, people will choose to process them directly on deck and only harvest the meat, the scallops, and then brought to the processing plant for cleaning and packaging. There are no modern machinery and equipment on the boat, so the shelling process is done manually. It can be seen that the hands work very quickly. In just 1 minute, they can handle dozens of clams. If the trips are short, the scallops will be preserved and transported to the processing factory. Here, modern machines move each standard scallop on a conveyor belt, and workers carry out the processing. Workers will wash fresh scallops and remove impurities such as dirt from the shells. Then transport it to the meat shipping factory. Remove the gonads and internal organs, only get the round and milky white flesh. Then wash thoroughly with clean water. Finally, the scallops are packaged and transported to supermarkets or convenience stores to serve customers. Scallops are easy to cook, delicious, and have a sweet flavour. Rich in protein and full of minerals like zinc, copper, and omega-3, making them a super healthy meal choice. Scallops are popular worldwide, but consumers in Asia and Europe eat the most, making them a popular ingredient in fine dining establishments and gourmet dishes. Scallops are fried until crispy with a squeeze of lime, served with some chopped fresh coriander and a light mixed salad, making the perfect appetizer or main dish. Scallops can also be eaten raw in ceviche or sliced thinly and served with a rich Asian-style sauce. A clam that looks like an elephant's trunk. Have you ever seen or eaten it? It has another name, geoduck, living in salty waters in Canada and the northwestern United States. They are a rare seafood and bring high economic value to fishermen and coastal people. They are also rich in nutrients. Many fishermen have become rich by harvesting this clam species. So, how do they harvest and process these clams? Please join me and explore in today's video. Geoduck are large mussels found along the west coast of the United States, from Alaska to Baja, California. The wild harvest and geoduck agriculture industry is growing, especially in Washington state. The majority of Washington's geoduck farming takes place south of Puget Sound. Geoduck harvesting brings an $80 million a year industry to the state. Geoduck has a large export market in the UK and many countries in Europe. In many Asian countries such as China, Japan and Korea, geoduck is considered a speciality. Their price can be up to $65 per kg. Harvesting geoduck is a difficult process. Fishermen wade into the cold, muddy waters of the Pacific Ocean to harvest. At this time, the fisherman used his hands to reach into the shelters and catch the geoduck out of the deep sand. Because of the cold water and hours of work in muddy, sandy areas, geoduck harvesters must wear protective gear and gloves. They continuously use water pipes to scour the sand and find the animal's location, because this species can hide deep under the sand, making it difficult for people to find. Geoduck harvesting is also celebrated as a recreational sport in Washington, and hunters use garden shovels and plastic pipes to spot geoduck in the wild. In addition, fishermen can dive into the sea to catch this creature. They dive 10 to 20 meters deep and move along the ocean floor to search for geoduck. They use a high pressure nozzle to liquefy the sand around it, then pull it up and place it in a specialized bag clipped to the diver's belt. Once sufficient quantity has been harvested, the diver will signal to the fishermen on the boat to pull them aboard, and they are gently taken out of the bag and tied to prevent their outer shell from cracking, helping them to live. Place them in sterilized cages and have lining to separate each animal for safety during transportation. Because overfishing has put this species on alert, the best solution is to breed them. It takes 6 years to raise this creature without using any machinery throughout this time. From the seed farm to the nursery to the beach to processing, it all uses labour. When they are still young, they live in sand trays. At this stage, they wash carefully to filter the sand that falls onto the mesh screen. Then they can select live and healthy breeds. They are brought to the sea and raised in safe areas to avoid predators. As they grow older, they will dig deeper into the sand. We can buy fresh geoduck in supermarkets or in restaurants, which is also popular by many food lovers. Simply put, the geoduck looks weird but is delicious. It has a flavour between clams and tender abalone, although the texture is crispier than both. Geoduck's exotic appearance reflects its ease of cooking. It's easier to make them grilled than, say, chicken, and quicker to stir fry. In fact, its stems are best when uncooked. Did you know that conch farms can harvest billions of oysters each season and bring millions of dollars in profits? This is a highly valuable trade in many parts of the world because of these high profits. If you don't believe me, join me in watching today's video to see how conch farms operate to make such profits. This species of snail is quite large and is found in Florida, the Bahamas, and throughout the Caribbean. This conch is a type of seashell prized for its exquisite beauty and intricate design. In particular, conch shells have high economic value, the most expensive of all types of conch. Conch shells are used in the mosaic industry and making other fine art items. Conch is a good source of magnesium, but is also a great source of vitamin B12 and minerals. Conch is also high protein. In addition to providing significant nutrients, conch is also a food rich in calcium and low in fat, high in protein. Conch breeds all year round. May and June are the times when the fishermen can catch the most conch. They are an important food source for sharks, turtles, and other creatures. Fishermen catch conch at sea using research vessels. In addition, they can access remote seas on small boats. They wear diving equipment to go into the sea and get really close to the environment. Conch habitats. Here, people can observe and find conches that have not yet fully grown. The process of raising conch seeds in a hatchery farm, raising eggs in a controlled environment, will lead to a high success rate. The eggs are transferred into an incubator until they are ready to hatch, where you can see the tiny egg cells begin to divide. After a few days, the queen conch embryo can be seen microscopically. When the egg is ready to hatch, the embryo has a shell, domed lobes, eye spots, and orange legs. They almost always begin to hatch from eggs and metamorphose from larvae to post-larvae, at which point they become recognizable conches, about 1/24 of an inch. After they grow up, they are moved out until they are adults. Baby conches fed on a gel diet consisting of marcloge and kept in sand-bottom tanks for a year before they are transplanted into the wild. This restoration of the wild, sometimes called ocean farming, allows baby conch to grow to a marketable size and provides future harvest opportunities for fishermen. When meeting standards, conch is delivered directly to fresh restaurants, in addition to making dishes. fishermen collect a quantity of pearls from conch. Pearl size measured in carats, as well as like the shade and the colour, which vary but include white, light pink, peach, yellow and dark pink. Dark pink pearls are more common. Natural conch pearls typically weigh between 2 and 5 carats. Conch pearls are naturally produced by the queen conch, found in the Caribbean. Their luster and beauty create classic and timeless jewellery, which can come in a variety of colours and sizes, with bright pink, nearly round or oval models being the most valuable. These naturally formed pearls tend to be relatively small due to the limited shell and rarely exceed 10 carats. After learning about the farming process, knowing the special things about these pearls, as well as their value, do you want to own some of these pearls for yourself?
How to harvest hundreds of tons of fish every day to bring stable economic income and enrichment opportunities for coastal fishermen is a question that many people ask. In fact, this is no longer a fantasy but has become a reality when every time a large fishing boat sets its net, hundreds of tons of fish will be harvested on the deck. How do fishermen catch large quantities of fish? We invite you to join us in admiring it. See how fishermen catch hundreds of tons of fish every day. Today's commercial fishermen use large vessels the size of football fields and advanced electronics to track fish. These giant ships can operate at sea for up to 6 months, storing thousands of tons of fish on board in giant freezers. Thanks to that, fishermen can catch large quantities of fish every day. In marine fisheries, the most important commercial methods used are purse seines and trawls. Such highly mechanized methods are rare in inland waters, which rely more on gill nets or barrier traps and individual operations such as casting nets. Huge ships with nets hundreds of meters in size are spread out at sea to catch fish. On board, there are also floating factories that process and freeze hundreds of tons of fish every day. These methods are highly effective in catching large quantities of fish. Fishing boats use large trawl nets to catch, requiring almost no human pulling power, but instead use large cranes combined with a pulley system to pull the net onto the boat compartment. Every time we pull the net, we can see dozens of tons of fish being harvested and transported to the processing conveyor. These large ships can operate for months in the ocean to harvest more fish, so each time they return to land, they can bring back thousands of tons of sea fish. According to research, the livestock industry has existed for thousands of years, but the fishing industry has only exploded in the last 50 years, but it has changed significantly. From small family boats and limited-sized nets, today we have evolved to huge ships and modern fishing techniques. People apply science and technology to locate locations with large fish yields and limit bycatch of rare protected creatures such as sea turtles, seals, etc. Population growth leads to ever-expanding consumer demand, thereby increasing seafood fishing. Perhaps many people will think that fishing boats are designed the same, but in reality, fishing boats are all functional and not all are created equal. Each is designed and built based on their intended use. The depth of the water, the size of the fish they are pursuing, the length of the trip, the weather, the number of crew, and the type of fishing gear that will be used all go hand in hand with design and function. Different fisheries have their own preferred methods, and these differences in intended goals and objectives have given rise to a wide variety of fishing methods around the world. Fishing at sea has become the main source of income for many generations of coastal fishermen. Wherever there is a sea, there is fishing activity. Every year, people catch about 80 to 90 million tons of fish from the ocean. This huge number is increasingly reflecting overfishing that is increasingly depleting marine resources. Conservation efforts and sustainable fishing practices are therefore critical to ensuring the health of ocean ecosystems and the long-term availability of fish as a food source. After being harvested, sea fish will be processed right on the ship and put into a frozen storage compartment. After the ship arrives, it will be transported to a more modern processing factory and packaged for consumers. Modern lines and machinery are used to process hundreds of tons of fish. Here, people remove the fish's internal organs and clean them before packaging. Depending on the requirements of agents or consumers, there are different packaging processes. And most importantly, ensure food hygiene and safety. Do you know which place in the world is the coldest inhabited by humans? That is the Sakha Republic, home to nearly 1 million people with extreme temperatures up to -65 degrees Celsius. Snow and ice cover all year round, making it impossible for agriculture to develop, but fishing on the river Yakushan ice has become a tradition among the indigenous population. This is also the main source of food for the people here. So how do they catch the fish? We invite you to explore with us in today's video. Unique: how to catch thousands of fish on glaciers. In winter, when the temperature drops, the surface of the lakes in Yakusha will freeze very thickly. Villagers will together bring items such as skewers or rackets, fishing nets to the ice lake to catch fish. Among them, the most traditional and famous way of catching fish in Yakusha is called munka, a way of catching fish using a trawl net. All people, including children, elders, and women, will also participate in this large-scale fishing process. During each annual ice fishing trip to Munka, Yakushans can catch several hundred kilograms of fish. This technique requires a lot of effort and teamwork. They have been organizing this traditional ice fishing activity for many years and try to take care of the lake and enrich it with fish. Locals form a group of up to 10 people, and each person must perform different jobs. The strongest people in the group make 2 large holes in the ice where they place the net. Then, people make a number of holes in the middle of the 2 large holes to pull the net from one hole to the other using a stick with a hook. Making a hole in the ice is not an easy task. Using an ice drill is also a skill that requires someone with experience to perform. When the net is released into the water, other members use long sticks in the water to push the fish toward the net. The net runs almost the entire length of the lake. In the end, the strongest people will pull the net and harvest the fruits. This is also the time that makes everyone most nervous and looking forward to it. The fish they caught was Yakut carp. People in Yakusha believe that this is a very healthy fish. They also believe that small fish are healthier than large fish. Therefore, we see that the main fish caught are carp that are quite small in size. One of the important rules of local people when participating in fishing is that everyone must work. Whether children or women, everyone has to work. Today, women also participate in traditional ice fishing, but in ancient times, only men were allowed to do it. Finally, they shared the spoils obtained. Fishing and hunting are important sources of food in Yakusha villages because it is impossible to grow fruits and vegetables due to the harsh climate. Fishing feeds the whole village. This is how Yakushans live in the coldest inhabited place on earth and enjoy their lives. In many other cold areas, Munka Festival is not held, but fishermen still catch fish with nets very effectively. They drilled 2 large gaps in the ice, then brought the net down to the water surface. Then the fishermen used pulleys instead of human strength to pull the net up. At this time, thousands of fish were caught in the net. It can be seen that in places with harsh climates, fish can still survive under cold temperatures. People survive thanks to fishing on the glacier. Ice fishing is a unique experience that gives anglers the opportunity to fish on a lake or river without a boat during the winter months. This is also an interesting experience that ordinary anglers can hardly do. To catch fish, people need to use a drill to create a small hole in the thick ice, then attach bait to the hook and drop it into the water. When the fish took the bait, they pulled up the fishing line and, to their surprise, caught a rather large fish. In areas of dense snow and ice, river and lake water freezes all year round. Livestock or farming activities are not possible, so harvesting fish from the river is the main source of livelihood for local people. Every day, they go to the fishing site on snowmobiles and do their work. The harvested fish are large in size. People process them directly at the fishing site, removing the fish's head and internal organs and only taking the body to put it into a container and bring it to the processing place. You see, no matter what area they live in, local people have to adapt to the living environment and climate. They must find survival methods to be able to cope with harsh weather. Today's video ends here. How do you feel today? Please comment a lot below to let us know. Don't forget, click like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. And now, goodbye and see you in the next videos.
Have you ever seen these giant clams? At first glance, they look very much like coral reefs on the seabed, but in fact, they are giant clams that can reach a weight of up to 500 kg. So, are these giant clams considered seafood or not? How do we harvest them? We invite you to explore with us in today's video. Giant clams, true to their name, we can easily recognize them by their very large size, which can be up to 1.3 meters long, with an average weight of more than 250 kg. They are slow-growing, long-living creatures and the world's largest living bivalve. They are found in tropical waters of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Currently, the number of giant clams in the wild is seriously decreasing due to illegal hunting, so the giant clam is listed as a rare animal species at risk of extinction. To preserve this species, people have researched and successfully propagated how to raise giant clams. which not only helps preserve the seed source, but also brings in great profits. In order for giant clam farm to develop effectively, it requires a standard number of seed. So, where do people harvest the seed? Giant clams are hermaphrodites. They can release eggs and sperm all at the same time. People choose giant clams in their 20s as breeders. After harvesting giant clam eggs and sperm, they fertilize and become swimming larvae. The larvae goes through several rapid stages as it transitions from floating plankton to small clams that settle on the sea floor. About 40 hours after hatching, the first signs of mussel shells appear. After about a year, the giant clams are about 10 centimeters long. Now, they cling tightly to the bricks. Baby giant clams that are about 1 year old will be taken to farms and raised. When giant clams reach a size of about 15 centimeters, over the next 5 to 8 months, they will be transferred to an offshore nursery. There, they are attached to wire mesh so they don't get separated when sea levels rise, and are enclosed in cages to protect them from predators, like triggerfish. Finally,